the first half of Tour de Endurance in Season 3 is complete, so we turn our sights to the B-League. And this time we have a lot of big-name teams that missed out, if you remember, from the qualifiers. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do here. 3 events in the first part of the B-League here today. Of course, I'm Ramen Powder and I'm joined by Angus.
Yes, indeed. Hello, hello. And correct, as Ramen has said, there's some big teams down here in the B-League, with the biggest ones being, I'd say, Team Sunrise and the Moneymakers, who missed out from very good positions in Season 2, and Croissant Crew and Silly Slimes, who've lost their Season 1 and Season 2 perfect attendance. First event today will be the block bumping, which the Silly Slimes, aforementioned, have the record in, but Breakfast Ritos are going to show us how it's done.
So we just saw this in the main tournament not too long ago. Breakfast Ritos, we'll see how they stack up, just the Expedition team, of course. We'll see how the B-League teams stack up. Oh, very chaotic run there, and barely you can see the block is lifted and over the edge, the right edge of the lane, and that means it's going to be an invalid push. You need the block to be square in the middle of the lane for it to count. Every team gets 3 runs. We'll have 12 runs here to see who can set a good distance. Sweet and Sour's up first.
It's in order of Season 3 qualifier finishers and those 4 poor relegated teams. Sweet and Sour's first to run, and they have a good opening first hit. Second one comes down and doesn't do all too much. Third push is solid. Now what can the fourth one do to push them into the run? It's a fantastic finisher for the Sweet and Sour's, up towards 78, which I think was actually better than everyone except for the Blue Brigade, who won gold in the A division. So Sweet and Sour's a very good opener.
That's a great opener, compared to especially what we saw in the A-League. We'll see how the other runs stack up, whether it's actually a great run or if it's just the conditions here. But Sweet and Sour's, what a way to start the event. Now, Onion Union in the second run, coming off last place last season. We'll see how they can bounce back in a B-League that might be more suited for them. Ooh, very shaky first run. They turn the block, but second run makes up very well. What can the third and fourth marbles do? Good for the third, but not great for the fourth. But actually, those first runs were so good, it's up towards 90. Onion Union will take the lead.
They won't just take the lead, they'll beat what the Blue Brigade did in the A-League. Look at that fourth push. He bounces his teammate up and over all of his teammates, knocking the block up towards 90, and 88.9 for the Onion Union, and they're going to take a commanding lead over what we thought was going to be a very strong run by the Sweet and Sour's. Onion Union have just thwarted that as Steel Force come down next, following up 2 runs like that. They got to be feeling pretty threatened. First push spins the block around, so already a bit of a setback, and the third one straggles, so he hits his teammate, and the fourth one also wasn't great. So some just poor coordination by Steel Force, and these were the kind of runs we were seeing back in the A-League.
Yeah, I think close towards 70, that would be about middle of the pack if this was in the A-League, but I think it's something to do with the conditions, or maybe these teams just happy to get the chance to perform here after being out of it for so long. But Steel Force just a 68, that's not going to be very good for them. Now, Moneymakers in the fourth run, another team that was in the season last season but didn't qualify this time. What will they do here?
Moneymakers, in fact, were championship contenders all the way till the end, and look at that! They're showing it based off of this run, because the second and third push, absolutely astonishing there. Let's have a look at this replay. So, the second push smacks straight into his teammate, conversing the energy, and then the third one, just a train developing behind the block, and it was perfect from those 4. And then the fourth one hits a straggling teammate, so not perfect conclusion, but a 78.75, still almost a full 10 centimeters behind the run from the Onion Union. What did they do so perfectly? Popsicles in run 5.
I actually think the Moneymakers, those marbles that went, they could have done a better job of getting closer to the block. We'll see what the Popsicles can do if they can learn from that. But can anyone get close to the Onion Union? Good hit from the third and the fourth push, but it's not good enough to get past 80. I think that close to 80 range is going to be the middle of the pack ballpark in this event. We'll see how Popsicles stack up to the rest of the teams.
You can tell these teams have watched the A division and did their homework on what not to do, because a good chunk of them are actually surpassing all of the competitors from the last event, except for the Blue Brigade, who got 82. But 70, 77 and 78 seems to be the average here. Silly Slimes, they have the record in this event, but that was in slightly different conditions. What can they do here, in what's clearly different conditions? Silly Slime, first 2 aren't great. Third one, nice and strong, but there's a straggler, and as a result, the fourth one doesn't do much, and that might actually be the worst one we've seen so far.
Yeah, just past 65. I don't think it will stack up to anything better than last or second to last for the Silly Slimes. For a veteran team in Tour de Endurance, they're not going to be pleased with that. They're going to be hoping to get a comeback in the later events, but just 6th out of 6 runs. That is dead last for them. Still not too far off the rest though, but still it's going to be not an ideal start. Onion Union, after the first 6 runs, commanding lead over the Moneymakers and the Sweet and Sours. So we move on to run number 7.
Alright, so Team Sunrise, arguably the biggest shocker. Season 2's host and championship contenders all the way till the end. They lost out due to team final descent and finished in 4th. So they're hoping for a massive rebound here after a struggle in the qualifiers. And that's the first invalid push we've seen so far. It was a great run until the end. The second and third pushes were very strong, but just too strong. And that's the first, and that will be off to the second attempt for Team Sunrise.
No penalty for taking an extra attempt. We saw promise from Team Sunrise in their first run, but perhaps too strong, as you said. Solid first push in the second attempt. Second push also decent. Look at the third and fourth pushes. Third push completely goes off, and the fourth push pushes it past 70. It's going to be a decent run for Team Sunrise in their second attempt.
Now, I don't think, Raman, you overplayed how good of a fourth one that was. The third one missed, but look at that fourth one. That was fantastic business. He dives around his straggling teammate and pushes it way past 75, but it's only good enough for 5th place. Still, that's not bad. That's still a pretty good result. Just the competition here is very stiff. Croissant Crew in run 8, the final contender of this group that was actually in Season 3's qualifiers. First push is solid. The rest are still circling that funnel.
Oh, that second push left much to be desired. Third and fourth also not too bad, but they needed to make up a lot of ground, and they won't. And Croissant Crew, this will be dead last for sure for them.
I wouldn't say for sure. I was pretty close. That third one was a complete misstep. But then that fourth one tries to bring it back, and okay, yeah, well, you were right. It was 60-60, 8th place for the Croissant Crew. So rough finish to those that are in Season 3's qualifiers. Now we look to these 4. These next 4 need some redemption. Relegated in Season 2's B-League, Cheeseballs will lead them off.
Cheeseballs need some good results. Both poor finishes in both Season 1 and Season 2. Solid third push for them. And fourth, the fourth one flips the block over, and that's going to be an invalid push for them. It was looking decent, but actually it doesn't even get past 70. So maybe they'll be happy to get a second attempt here.
I don't even know what happened there. The fourth one just had so much power just in the wrong direction. It flipped the block over. If it was in the right direction, they've come down to the swarm here. They're going too fast for me. It's already pretty good, but there is a straggler, and he dodges most of them, getting them up towards, well, that seemed like it was going to be a lot bigger of a push based off of that swarm that they had for the first 3 pushes.
Yeah, just look at all 3 of those marbles. None of them are close to the block when the fourth marble is coming down. So the fourth marble really doesn't have much to play for, and it's only good enough for 7th. But I think they had potential for a lot more than there. But now, Honeycombs in run 10, getting to the final few teams. Honeycombs, also another team that needs redemption. Good Season 1, very good, but not good in Season 2.
Now, the first two... Oh, look at that third push. I was just going to mention how good the second one was, but the third and fourth one blow it out of the water. And I think the crowd's surprised by this. We have a contestant. Did the Honeycombs just beat Onion Union? But look at this third one. Oh, that was fantastic. They all get close to the block, allowing for the fourth one to be good too. What does it stack up to? It's good enough for 2nd place. Only just not good of Onion Union. Goodness gracious.
And that run really goes to show how important it is for the early marbles to get close to the block to avoid dissipating energy. But now, in the final run, the Crystal Pistols, what can they do? Crystal Pistols, another team that needs to get something going for them. They're close towards 60. With 1 marble to go, it's not going to be at 70, but it's not going to be dead last for sure for them.
Yeah, well, first of all, Raman, second to last run here, but good try. And it was like an attempt of the swarm run by the Cheeseballs, and it went slightly better, but it ended up being up towards 9th place. It still was not great. Crystal Pistols need to get something going. They've had a real rough run in Tour de Endurance so far. They've just got one more run to go in this one before moving on to the next event, which is the Cosmonauts.
Well, I forgot about them, but it is the Cosmonauts that need a good push as well. 2nd and 3rd. Coming out pretty close. Ooh, it's only towards 60 with 1 marble to go, and it's not going to be very much at all. Those marbles were not bunched up towards the block, so it's only going to clear a few centimeters past 60. We'll see how it stacks up, but definitely not in the top half.
Maybe it was just me, but that first push seemed weaker than most of the other ones, so that already set the tone, and it's only a 62.80, so 11th place for the Cosmonauts opening event. But this does mean that the Onion Union have won the first B-League event as a surprise to quite a few. I imagine they've really bounced back from their Season 2 struggles, and Honeycombs and Moneymakers, 2 big relegated names, are going to round out the podium in this first event. And now we move swiftly along to the Duo Funnel Duel. We saw this event also quite recently in the A-League. It was Party Crashers and Green Peacocks unsurprisingly on top. But some top seeds in this one include the Honeycombs again. Moneymakers also have some good history here. And the Crystal Pistols dual member is very good in the funnels. But what will their teammate do as we look at what could happen in this event?
And just a reminder, the bottom 4 in the B-League after 6 events will be relegated and won't make it to the Season 4 qualifiers. Of course, it's early days, but we'll see if which teams end up in that bottom 4. So we get started in the Duo Funnel Duel. Cosmonauts looking pretty good up there. Also, Moneymakers have one up there as well. Onion Union dropping down. They're going to want to pick it up after their gold in the first event.
So currently it's 2 Moneymakers and 2 Cosmonauts, both of them up pretty high. One Ununion member is already down to the penultimate funnel, while his teammate tries to push ahead with the rest of the competitors. With Ununion, they already have 1 in the bottom, and they finish in dead last before 30 seconds. That is not what you want to do. Sweet and Sours also have 1 in there, and his teammate joins him, and Sweet and Sours have really bottled it here, while Moneymakers and Cosmonauts still looking pretty good.
That Onion Union marble trying to hold on. They dropped down into the final funnel pretty early, but they've held on for 3rd place individually. Cosmonauts and the Moneymakers will get top 2. Moneymakers, ooh, you'd think that they'd be able to spin for some more time. That last marble, in this event particularly, you really need to spin for as long as you can, especially if there are heats afterwards, because you don't know what time is going to be the benchmark for gold. But Moneymakers, regardless, 47-34 for them, and the other one, Finance, gets 4th. Individually, I think they will take the lead provisionally after this heat.
Cosmonauts were their only contender, and both of their marbles finished below their supplement Moneymaker contestant. So Moneymakers will take the lead with an overall 87.77 score. So that's not bad at all. But the winning time in the A-League was 105 and 102 Party Crashers and Green Peacocks. So there's still plenty of room to improve in this next heat with Cheese Balls, Silly Slimes, Popsicles, and the Honeycombs. And away they go.
Of course, these teams need to really show what they've got if they want to stack up to the cream of the crop of the A-League. We'll see what they can do. Honeycombs have the lead provisionally, and their second marble also doing pretty well. Silly Slimes have 2 marbles fairly down the order, and they continue to plummet. Cheese Balls also in a pretty good position.
Honeycombs had 1 tumble past all the Silly Slime members and now has recovered with both the Popsicles who are in trouble. Silly Slimes have 1, Popsicles have 2 now, and the Popsicles finish in last and second last. Popsicles have botched there, Silly Slimes will get through next, and one of their marbles are also down there, but Honeycombs and Cheese Balls, the yellow in this is doing very well. Cheese Balls especially, still winning this race.
Look at that last Silly Slime holding on for almost the win individually in this match. They'll get 2nd place, but still great recovery after the Silly Slimes were looking so shaky earlier in the heat. Great job to the Cheese Balls, especially. Honeycombs also did pretty well. Popsicles though, oh, that's not going to be good whatsoever. 7th and 8th. Cheese Balls, is it good enough? I think it is for the lead in this heat particularly. Is it good enough for the lead overall?
That's going to be very close. It was very close to what... Look at Silly Slimes here. I don't know how he pulled that off. He almost pulled through for the individual win, but it was the Cheese Balls who brought him out, and it is good enough for 1st place. 88.62, but the Honeycombs can't even sneak onto the podium. I thought they did quite well there. They get good enough for 4th, as we just have 1 more heat to go. The Crystal Pistols, Croissant Crew, Team Sunrise, and Steel Force. Much quicker event, this one, than the block bumping, so we'll move on to event 3 pretty quickly here.
Well, could the Cheese Balls be on for their 1st medal ever? We'll have to see. Still, 2 heats to go. Crystal Pistols looking pretty good in those higher up funnels. They have a lot of experience in the funnels coming off Season 1. But now, Croissant Crew also dropping down pretty quickly. Team Sunrise, actually it's pretty balanced all throughout. Every team seems to have 1 marble, except Crystal Pistols have the top 2 right now.
Steel Force and Team Sunrise have 1 at the bottom. It's going to be Steel Force who comes through first, followed by 1 Team Sunrise, and I think that was his teammate. So Croissant Crew, Crystal Pistols have lost 1 of their members. Croissant Crew I think that's going to be 4th and 3rd. I don't think he's going to hold out for much longer, and that was correct. Crystal Pistols, 2nd place, and Steel Force get 1st and last. So that's actually quite a balanced heat here, but I think Crystal Pistols and Crystal Pistols and Croissant Crew will fight for the top 2 best spots, but I don't think any of them challenge for the podium.
That's going to be very good for the Cheese Balls. Crystal Pistols did lose out after looking good earlier in the heat. Steel Force is going to be mixed for them. Team Sunrise not good. Croissant Crew pretty consistently good, but is it good enough? I don't think it is to challenge for the lead. This was a good battle too. For the win overall, Steel Force needed to hold on after their other marble got lost, but Croissant Crew, the winning time in this heat, and it's only good enough for 6th.
And that's where the event comes to a close. Cheese Balls with their first medal of any status, B-League or A-League in Tour de Endurance, and it's gold. Cheddar and Swiss on top, and Moneymakers 2 for 2 so far in the medals in the B-League, and Cosmonauts very happy to be back on the podium, I imagine, because it's been quite a long time.
So after 2 events, it is the Moneymakers with 2 podiums. They are at the top of the standings, 2 points clear of the Honeycombs and the Cheese Balls. Who'd have thought it, in 3rd place. But now we're moving on to event 3, the distance drag. We'll see which teams can end off the first part of the B-League in the best way.
So final event for the day, we started off with Crystal Pistols, Croissant Crew, Popsicles and Sweet and Sours. Imagine most in the B-League here is afraid of Daybreak from Team Sunrise, who has 2 golds in this event in the 2 times they've ever done it. So that means that here they're obviously the number 1 seed to win, but it's against much less tough competition, you think. Popsicles and Sweet and Sours come down neck and neck, Popsicles pull ahead, Croissant Crew even them up, and Crystal Pistols split between everyone as the anchor, and we'll move on to the final.
Crystal Pistols, seeing what everyone put down, said, I can do better. Getting in between, they saw the gap there. If that gap was smaller, I don't think they would have broken free and got into the lead, but they did, and are 3 centimeters clear of the Popsicles. As we move on to the second heat, Steel Force, Silly Slimes, Onion Union, and the Cheese Balls.
Of course, the Popsicles getting second, they are the top wildcard contender. The best of the rest will move on to the final with the 3 heat winners. First to come down will be Onion Union, who get the plain all to themselves, but sometimes it doesn't mean much. Cheese Balls follow, followed by the Steel Force, who get nothing, but Cheese Balls take the lead. So these Slimes with the anchor, they go around town, and I think they've beaten the Cheese Balls.
The Silly Slimes, once again, is the anchor that gets the best distance. They go all the way to the near side. It's not a great strategy to go off-center, but it worked out for the Silly Slimes, just getting past the Cheese Balls. I thought they had it, but still, that distance for the Cheese Balls is looking pretty good for them to get that wildcard spot. Silly Slimes are locked in to the final.
Now there's Team Sunrise Daybreak with Cosmonauts, Moneymakers, and the Honeycombs. Some tough competition, but still, I imagine the Team Sunrise fans are happy to see Daybreak back on the distance drag track. But what can he do? Moneymakers onto the plane first, and they're off to the clear lead. Honeycombs follow, and Cosmonauts, and here he comes as the anchor of this heat. What can he do? And he gets blocked off! Moneymakers are onto the final.
That is going to be an upset for sure. I don't even think Team Sunrise is going to be good enough to snag the wildcard spot. Moneymakers look strong coming out. But Team Sunrise, they came close. Oh, but they were just in the way were the Moneymakers. And 11 and 109.3, that is going to be good enough. Not for Team Sunrise. So it is the Cheese Balls that will be moving on. Team Sunrise only 7th in the event. They've got to be disappointed with that. But there you can see the 4 marbles that are going for gold.
That is the definition of an upset. Team Sunrise need to be avoiding these kind of like mess-ups in the B-League especially, but now we go to see who goes for gold. Cheese Balls first into the second orange, and they're the first one onto the play, and they're flying out. Will that be the winning strategy? So these Slimes come down next and just can't reach them. Crystal Pistols next up. They bump the Cheese Balls forward. That might seal the deal, and it does, but I have no idea who got second. Congratulations to the Cheese Balls. They've gone 2 golds in a row. Of all teams to do that, the Cheese Balls, very surprising.
What an effort by the Cheese Balls, and the Crystal Pistols that nudge all but sealed it. But who got second place? Moneymakers or Crystal Pistols? It's the Moneymakers! By 1/10 of a centimeter, the Moneymakers steal second ahead of the Crystal Pistols.
What an event to close out the first part of the B-League. Cheese Balls go 2 golds, and Moneymakers have gone 3 for 3 in the medals in this first half of the B-League. That is very impressive, and Crystal Pistols, just like the Cosmonauts in the last event, very happy to be back on the podium. But how does this all shake up for the standings? Who, after halfway through, is in the danger zone?
Cheese Balls, unsurprisingly, in the lead, but Team Sunrise, Cosmonauts, Popsicles, and the Croissant Crew in the danger zone with 3 events to go.
We move back to the A-League next time with the balance battle.